Hey guys, I'm here today for a very
November.
short,
I don't even really know.
very kind of disappointing
what the time frame was
October,
for when I
November
read all of
wrap-up.
these, but these are
I think,
books that I have
yeah.
read in the past few
Let's go
months
with October, November.
that I don't even really
need
know
to talk to you about.
when,
So,
what the
not
time
that I have
frame
much to
was
say
for
on
when I
them
read
because
all
I
of
don't
these, but these are
remember
books that
it's
I
been
have
so
read
long
in the
that I
past
don't
few
really
months
remember much
that
except
I need to talk
about
to you
maybe
about.
one of them because that's the most recent
Not that
one
I have
I
much
read.
to
That
say
might
on
have
them because
been
I don't remember
in December
because it's
that
been
I
so
finished
long.
that one.
I don't know.
That I
It's
don't
all a
really
mess. I'm
remember
very
much
sorry. This is
except
what happens when you're
about maybe
reading
one
and
of them because that's the
not
most
filming
recent one that I
videos on a
read. That
regular
might have
basis
even
when
been
you're in college. But
in
yes,
December
I'm
that
just
I
gonna
finished that
tell
one.
you.
I don't
know.
know.
It's all a
each of
mess.
these
I'm very
books,
sorry.
and
This is what
hopefully
happens
you'll
when
get
you're
something
reading
out
and
of those
not filming videos on a
reviews,
regular
if you can
basis
even
when you're in
call
college.
them
But
that,
yes,
if they
I'm
can
just
even
gonna
be
tell you a little bit about
deemed
each of
that
these
because
books,
they're not gonna
and
be
hopefully you'll get something
too stellar.
out of those.
But
yeah, so let's
reviews,
just get
if you
into
can
it. The
even
first one I
call
have
them
here is
that,
A
if they
Drowned
can even
Maiden's
be
Hair by Laura Amy
deemed that
Schlitz,
because
and I
they're
think
not
I
gonna be
mentioned maybe in my
too stellar. But
September
yeah,
wrap-up
so
that
let's
I
just
was
get
in the
into it.
middle
The
of
first
this,
one
and
I have
just
here
hadn't
is A Drowned
finished
Maiden's
it yet,
Hair
but
by
I was
Laura
enjoying
Amy
it,
Schlitz.
and I did enjoy this. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars overall. It was good. I liked it. It was intriguing. The storyline was intriguing. This is about Maud, who is an orphan, and she resides at the Barbary Asylum for Female Orphans, where, it's not that great. She's, working all the time. Conditions aren't the best, and she's not really treated that well, and of course she doesn't enjoy her life. And, but one day these two old ladies come, the Hawthorne sisters, and with the intent to adopt a little girl, and they end up choosing Maud, much to everyone's disbelief. But it turns out that the Hawthorne sisters have kind of a purpose in mind for Maud that might not be the most upright and moral. They kind of want her to do some things that maybe aren't the best, and they want her to participate in the family business, as it were, and Maud doesn't really understand what this is for a while, until they finally feel like they can trust her and let her in on their secrets. So it's just kind of about her life with these women, and trying to, at first she thinks it's great because these women are a lot wealthier than Maud has ever been in her life, of course. And so she has all these new luxuries. She has new clothes and books and toys, and she lives in a nice house with indoor plumbing and electricity and everything, which she's never had before, because this is set in the early 1900s, I want to say. Somewhere around that time. And so at first she's just so infatuated with her new lifestyle, and also with the Hawthorne sisters, one of them in particular, Hyacinth, who she takes a real liking to. And then as the story goes on, she sort of starts to realize that maybe this new life isn't as great as it seems, and maybe Hyacinth's motives aren't the best. And she just kind of has to decide if she wants to be a part of this thing of this family business of theirs that might not have the best intentions. And so I'm sorry that's kind of a little confusing, but I don't really want to give away what the family business is in case you want to keep that, in case you want to read this and you don't want to know what that is. So yeah, like I said, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed the writing style, and the story was intriguing. It was kind of just subpar. It wasn't fabulous, there wasn't anything that just blew my mind with how amazing it was. So it was solid, it was good, it just wasn't amazing. So that's why I gave it a middle of the road 3-star rating. But I am reading another book by Laura Amy Schlitz right now called The Hired Girl that I'm really enjoying a lot more. So I will, and I definitely want to get all of her books sound intriguing to me, so I'll probably read them all eventually, and I will definitely let you know what I think of The Hired Girl, hopefully in December's wrap-up. Hopefully I'll finish it by then. But yeah, that is this one. The next thing was a buddy read with Erica by Katherine Dunn together. That we figured this was kind of we read this in October, I know that for sure, because we figured it was kind of a Halloween-ish type read. And this book is bizarre, to say the least. It is one of the strangest books, if not the strangest book. It's probably the strangest book I've ever read, let's just be honest. Yes, I'm just going to read the back to you because I don't really know how to explain it myself. So it says, Lil Banuski, born a Boston aristocrat, was in her time the most stylish of geeks. That is to say, she made her living by biting the heads off live chickens in front of a carnival audience. This she gave up for doting motherhood because she and her fairground-owning husband had a money-spinning idea. Throughout each pregnancy, Lil gobbles pesticides, experiments with drugs, and douses herself with radiation to ensure that she produces infants grotesque enough to keep the turnstiles clicking. She does. Arturo the Aqua Boy is a limbless megalomaniac. Electra and Iphigenia are musically gifted conjoined twins with a penchant for prostitution, and Fortunato is possessed of strange telekinetic powers. Their story, by turns shocking, tender, touching, and cruel, is narrated by their sister Olympia. She is a bald, hunchbacked, albino dwarf. So yeah, if that doesn't give you a taste of how bizarre and strange and disturbing this book is, then I don't know what will. But I have a hard time expressing my feelings about this book because it was a hard read, because it is so bizarre and disturbing and like nothing that you ever really encounter in everyday life. But there were really touching moments, as it says on the back. I don't know how to characterize my feelings about this book. I wouldn't say that I overly enjoyed it, and I wouldn't say that I hated it. It was just kind of like the last book, but in a very different way, of course. It was just kind of a middle of the road kind of read for me. I wasn't in love with the writing style, but there were passages, especially towards the end, that just took my breath away with how beautiful they were. So I don't know how that's possible, that most of the time the writing was just kind of okay for me, and then at some points there were passages that were just absolutely beautiful. But it's definitely not a read for everyone, but if it sounds interesting to you, I would definitely give it a chance. It's definitely not a bad book by any means. It's very interesting and intriguing, but it is, of course, disturbing. But it really makes you think about what family is and the different things that family can mean, and what humanity is, and just how we define that, and how we how we define ourselves as a group, and how we look at those who we maybe define as outside of that group, kind of like the other, the concept of the other, and how we treat people that we define as other and different from ourselves. And yeah, it's definitely a very thought-provoking, almost philosophical read, and I would say if it sounds interesting to you, definitely give it a chance. The next thing I read was my classic Halloween October read for the month that I like to read. I like to read one kind of classic Halloween story every year, and this year I chose Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. This I enjoyed a lot. I actually read this, I was going to read Dracula because last year I read Frankenstein, but I chose this partly because it's a lot shorter than Dracula. Dracula is much longer than this, and it was kind of like halfway through October and I hadn't started my classic Halloween read yet, so this one was a lot shorter, so I figured I could actually get through it, even though I still didn't finish it in October. But anyway, and also I chose this one because my parents and I went to the Skimmerhorn Opera House in Nashville, and they do a Halloween event every year where they play a classic silent Halloween movie on the big screen, and it's accompanied by a live organist to play the music, and this year was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so I decided that I would read the source material. I wanted to read it before, obviously, but I didn't get to that. So I saw the movie and then read this, and I actually think I preferred the movie more, which is, you know, kind of a hard thing to admit, but I think I did. It seemed to have more insight into the mind of Dr. Jekyll and why he decided to do this. I mean, the book was still very good. I think some of the lines in the movie just connected to a lot more than the way that it was explained in this novella here. So I would definitely still obviously recommend this. It's a classic story. Definitely worth the read. I just think I enjoyed the movie a little bit more. The last thing that I read in October/November, I think I finished this one in November, definitely. That is A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. I'm sure you've seen this a lot of different places on YouTube. It's been very popular recently, and for a very good reason. This one a 5 out of 5 stars. It was phenomenal. At first, the first couple stories that I read, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I wasn't totally blown away. But as I went more and more in depth into the collection and experienced more and more of the stories, I was just blown away by how atmospheric everything became. Kirsty Logan's writing is just so sharp and right on point. She just uses a few words to sum up perfectly a feeling or a thought that is kind of universally human and that just anyone could relate to. And she uses myths, like kind of Scottish fairy tale and folklore, to weave into these stories. So they do have that magical realism kind of fairy tale element, but they're also very realistic, and they are grounded in real human experience, which is shown by it's actually two mothers who one of them is pregnant with their child and made this pact that they would only ever tell their child truths, but they also end up wanting to tell the baby stories. So they do it when the other one, either for the pregnant mother, she tells the baby stories when the other mother is away at work. The mother who's not pregnant with the baby tells the baby stories when one who is carrying the baby is asleep. And so in this way they go about telling their baby stories without the other one knowing, and they tell the baby these truths that they know in the form of stories that either are about their lives or about the lives of people that they have known, or stories that they've heard from other people. And it's just a beautiful concept. There's little, each chapter or each story starts with one of the mothers telling the baby about the story and what it's about and who it's about and what they can learn, what they want the baby to take away from it and apply to their life when they're born. And it's just a beautiful collection. I would definitely recommend it if you like fairy tale, if you like magical realism, if you just like beautiful writing. I would definitely recommend this. So those are the 4 books that I have to show you for my October/November wrap-up. Not very much there, but also some very interesting, enjoyable reads nonetheless, even though the quantity was not that great. The quality was pretty good. So I'm happy with that. And right now I'm in the middle of some things, of course. Some holiday reads that I'm reading with my friend Katie. We're doing a buddy read yet again, because what else would we do? And so I will have a wrap up for those, hopefully close to the end of the month, or if not too long after the end of the month. I'm hoping to get my wrap ups kind of back on track. And yeah, so I will have that for you very soon. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about these books, if you've read them and you'd like to discuss them, leave that down in the comments, or let me know if there's any of them that you're intrigued by and you'd like to pick up. Just leave all your wonderings and musings and questions down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks for watching.